The mind, the subtle body, and the forging of the path to realization. When a man says there is no God, it's pretty funny because it's due to the Atma only that he is able to say that. It's only their destiny. If another man is mistaken or ignorant, we should try to improve our understanding and not come to quick conclusions and be more sophisticated. And this sophistication can only happen through devotion. Hello friends, welcome to my channel All Things Spiritual. In this video, we will look at the subtle body and its composition. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Our observation becomes optimistic, productive, constructive and upbeat due to devotion. The reason for this is in the five senses: eyes, nose, ear, tongue and skin, which results in sight, smell, hearing, taste and touch respectively. These are the outcomes of the karma related senses that provide information to the knowledge sense or the Jnana Indriyas. Due to the outcome of the senses, we are able to know about the objective world around us. Mind applies options and comes to resolutions, and the identification and cognition happens in the intelligence or the buddhi of the person. And as we discussed in our previous videos, the intelligence is ahead of the mind from the body or the kosha standpoint. I will provide you a link to it so that you can view it. The mind is in charge of the options and resolutions and also ignorance as well as anger and other imaginative aspects. The intelligence is actually at work, and the procession of pride that comes out of the mind is called the ego. The heart of the emotional mind is called the chitta. The analysis of all the thoughts that happen in the mind, this emotional aspect of the mind or the chitta allows for subjectivity. For example, if a bitter taste affects one negatively, then one's perception of a bitter tasting fruit would be negative. So there are four compartments of the mind: the ego, intelligence, emotion and thought generation. Even though they are separate, they are still one, but still there is another aspect of the waves of disturbance of the mind. The person could be irritated, and as a result of these waves of disturbance, a person could be forgiving and another would want vengeance. These waves result in the fruits at a point in time. Those are the karmas of the person. These waves could cause a person to have either a positive or a negative experience. The mind or the manas. The manas is the part of the mind that we typically think about when we hear the word mind. This is the emotional mind and at times may be irrational. One of the main distinctions of the manas is how quickly it stamps things as like or dislike. Our mind does things so quickly, sometimes we don't even catch it. I like those shoes, or it smells bad there, and this is the chitta vritti, the intellect or the buddhi. The buddhi is similar to the word Buddha and it is the rational mind. This is a wise part of the mind that gives us awareness. The verbal root Bud means to awaken. So our wise intellect is able to think back on our experiences, relate to experiences and the people around you, and is always guiding our next move. The ego or the ahankara. Sometimes the word ego gets a bad rap, but the part of the mind that we associate with ahankara is our sense of individuality, of course in healthy doses. We need aspects of the ahankara for happiness and our personality, or else we would be depressed. We would feel lost without the sense of the I. When this part of the mind is unobserved, it can run on competitiveness and constantly comparing itself to others. Having the awareness is the first part of the healthy and balanced ahankara or ego. The unconscious mind or the chitta. The chitta is sometimes also referred to as the storehouse of emotions. You may also see it referred to as the heart of emotions. This is where all our experiences, memories and impressions or samskaras are stored. Many times we have unprocessed or undigested emotions in this part of the mind, and they may strive for our attention in various ways. The way we react to situations may be one of them, or the way we cope up with stress may be another. Collectively, the mind works quickly and beautifully, fusing all these different parts in each and every scenario we are in. If you watch till the end, you would find out how the subtle body is responsible for forging our path to realization and how the world is run by the subtle world. So stay tuned till the end, and also please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. The mind is the instrument of perception. The mind is created by the imbalance of the three gunas. The three gunas are in constant state of struggle to attain supremacy. This imbalance is reflected in the constantly swirling human mind. The swirling is the karma that we, the Atma, experience for the time of our human life. Unable to bear the imbalance, the mind constantly seeks a middle ground in which it does not feel the impact of the pulls and pushes of the opposites. The mind cannot lose the pulls of the temptation, strays from the middle ground and faces consequent backlashes. In turning to various alternatives for peace, tranquility and freedom, which is the true nature of the Atman, it comes across the teachings of the Paramatma, which is self-realization through devotion. The mind learns that it does not have to turn anywhere except to itself to find the answer and quell the turmoil within. One by one, it sheds the illusion and attachments that it was subject to. It then attains unification with the Atma and is freed forever from the repeated cycles of births and deaths. The mind is created by the imbalance of these three gunas. If the sattva is more, the person will have a calm and composed personality. If Rajas is more, then it goes to a more unstable personality. As in Rajas, there may be a constant feeling of hostility towards someone or something. The Rajas Guna person is always restless, and a mind with Rajas Guna would be a tough nut to crack in spirituality. Tamas Guna is further down the river from Rajas, and it takes a man to his or her own destruction. So we have 5 knowledge senses or indriyas, which are the ears, skin, eyes, tongue, nose, and we have 5 action senses or karma indriyas or voice, hand, feet, anus and genitalia, and then 5 elements, which is the earth, water, fire, air and space, and 5 life forces or pranas, which are collectively known as 5 winds. Prana, which helps in talking, laughing, singing, dancing, fighting, etc. Apana or downward breath lets food and drink enter the body and move waste down and out of the body. Udana or upward breath, which helps in sneezing, hiccuping, vomiting and coughing. Vyana, which gives goosebumps, sweating, stomach pain, bending of the limbs and the sense of touch. And Samana, which mixes the eaten and the drunk. And the mind with its 4 compartments, as I described before. The surprising 6th aspect is the ignorance, which engulfs every living being. In order to destroy it, we need knowledge to cross the ignorance barrier. It is due to this ignorance that man does not know God, and no person is able to know his or her own Atma due to this ignorance. The 7th one is desire. These are our cravings, just as we like to be rich and acquire material possessions in our lives. If we were not to desire, we would still have been cavemen. Due to desires, progress happens and we get kings and rulers. In their own sense, they are the cause of progress of man. They are not bad in themselves, but the desires that generate attachments and that engulfs the jiva are bad. It's due to the selfish motives of the person. And the last one is karma. The dullness or lethargy could also be karma. Without the execution of karma, there is no freedom, even for birds and animals, as they have to do their karma in order to gather the food by themselves. Hence, every being is bound to its own karmas. And as a part of reincarnation, a topic that I discussed in my prior video, I will link it above. All the 8 entities described above are cause of our subtle body. Hence, it is called 8-limbed or Ashtanga. The subtle layer is the next to the gross form of the individual, and it's been born of the Mahabhutas or the 5 elements, which are earth, water, fire, air and space. Since all these are part of the subtle body, all that is going on is part of the subtle layer, and the gross form is just the fructification of those subtle desires. For example, if I suddenly have a desire to have my favorite food, the desire springs out from the subtle layer, and once the taste is registered by the tongue, the gross layer then pings information of the record, and this is the food that has been had, and based on the experiences buddhi tries to make comparisons with the past to make the resulting outcomes, although not the cause to path of realization. But forging is in the subtle body, and it's hard for a disciple to grasp. As the subtle body progresses, then the disciple has a chance to get to his soul or his or her own Atma, the light of the Chidabhasa. If it is not visible to the individual upon meditative practice, it means that the subtle body is blocking the reflection of the light that the Atma is reflecting. So the forging and the forger is itself the subtle body, and it is the central point of the path to realization. The gross form of the man is of blood and bones, is mortal and decaying. The subtle layer doesn't get destroyed, but the gross body doesn't contain desires. This the man doesn't know. The desire to eat your favorite ice cream starts in the subtle body, and the eyes that look at the ice cream ad are the senses that help the subtle body to fulfill the desires. So the desires spring out of the subtle body and not the gross body. If I feel like drinking alcohol, it comes from the subtle body. Say, for example, if a person A slaps a person B, the subtle inclination of the person provokes him to use his gross limbs and go off to strike person B. So the part where the person A is hitting person B is affecting both person A and person B's subtle bodies. The Jivatma is different from both the gross and the subtle body. There is a confusion about this. The gross body is mortal and it sleeps, eats, talks, etc. and it is a vehicle for the Jivatma and not for the subtle body. Similar to the example of electricity, the mortal body is powered by the Atma. The people could either get drunk or acquire knowledge under it, which means that the Atma is totally aloof and is just watching the Jiva perform its karmas, good or bad. The gross body sometimes starts to glow in yogis, just like for example Sai Baba. It's due to the Atma, which is internally God's rays through the Atma that illuminate the gross body. The light of the Atma pierces the gross form in such yogis and it gets seen as rays, and these rays help other humans get rid of diseases. The gross body is the means for the subtle body to fulfill its desires. The main central body of focus is therefore the subtle body. It's available to the person in his or her waking state, but when the body is in deep sleep, the subtle body is not functioning. The mind and the intelligence are also asleep at the time. The person does not know if he is dead or alive, and at this point he is unaware of the gross world that he experiences during waking. This deep sleep state happens only for 2 or 3 hours in a day. This is where the causal body, which is part of the mental body, comes into play, and once the causal body awakens, it brings about transitory happiness and it brings about appearance of restful sleep to the person. The whole world runs on the subtle body due to the resulting actions it produces through its vehicle, the gross body, and both these are vehicles of the Jivatma. The Jivatma, if required, is controlled by the Atma. I mention if required as the Jivatma is free to do its karmas. So, say for example a person has emotions of anger or sadness, the Atma or the soul has nothing to do with it. It's unblemished and not connected to the emotions that the subtle body so desires. The Atma is the observer of all bodies. It may mean that it's been qualified as having an attribute, but its attributes are beyond the comprehension and it's beyond the 3 gunas as I described before. The 3 gunas are inconvenience to the Jivatma. The Jivatma uses the subtle body to be the cause of desires. The desires are created in the subtle body as the mind, intelligence, etc. all are right there in the subtle body. The Jivatma finally is you only, the person desiring that things would be alright, or maybe I could get that nice car, or I could go out of station this weekend. The journey of the Jivatma is to reach to his or her own Atma. That's the truth. But the reflection of the Atma is the Jivatma. The emotions, like for example anger, rage, fury, annoyance, displeasure are all parts of the subtle body. The journey of the Jivatma is to sit with his or her own eyes closed and then bring a mastery on these desires. As the Atma is aloof from the scene and as it is the silent observer of the scene, even when the person is performing misdeeds, the Atma is just watching and it would never intervene at a later point when the Jiva demands justice for that particular situation. It is a silent observer at all times. A meditative practice is therefore definitely required for you to experience your subtle body and to enter it, and there is definite need to close our eyes as it's viewing the gross world, and as long as you don't close your eyes, it is not possible to directly experience the subtle world. For the aspirant of spirituality, the subtle layer has dark clouds of desires, thoughts, longings, cravings, all that the mind has gathered through its prior impressions or samskaras is all present in the subtle body, and since it is subtle, it can't be seen, and it's the truth that the body goes with the death of the person. It keeps attaching to the soul and it comes back with the impressions from reincarnations. Due to meditation, the mind is then able to focus, and the thoughts that are mainly linked to desires, these thoughts subside and the mind becomes concentrated, and constantly desiring subtle body also fades in the process and starts to relieve itself of the shallow and superficial thoughts, and then the subtle mind gets more deeper and deeper into thoughts of itself and the Atma. It is in this process the Jiva starts imbibing attributes of the Atma and starts to become aloof and sees itself at a distance from the gross world, still being there involved and doing things but without attachments. As the gunas affect the person at this level, the gunas start leaning towards the sattvic nature and the person enjoys a tranquil, peaceful, soothing and relaxing existence. How did you like the video on the subtle body? Please let me know in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video.